Bonnie and Clyde, one of the most infamous duos in American history. They went on a shopping spree in the early 1930s, but they chose not to pay. They captivated the nation with their daring robberies and narrow escapes from the law. Today, we're going to delve into the bullet points of Bonnie and Clyde's captivating story and explore the many mysteries that still surround their lives and deaths. So jump on this getaway car and join us as we travel back in time to the Depression-era outlaws, Bonnie and Clyde. And I call shotgun.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
It's alive!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you by the power of Christ. This is
Me?
Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
And we're back for part 2 of Bonnie and Clyde.
I love the way you say that.
I just can't.
Makes me think of Boris and Natasha from the Bullwinkle.
Boris, you idiot. Yeah, so we get down to the nitty gritty and the hamburger this week.
It's going to get rough towards the end of this one.
It's not nearly as rough as some of the shit we've covered in the last few weeks, so I'm cool with it.
Well, I meant more for Bonnie because of what she expected and what was going to happen, and then she was she was right or die to the end, but it was not exactly what she wanted.
I'll tell you what, they had a good run.
Yeah.
Not so much.
It was some parts were good, I suppose.
It was a hell of a ride anyway, right?
It was a hell of a ride.
Well, you'll live forever, so
That's true.
That's something, I suppose.
That's true. Well, I have a severe bronchial thing going on, so I sound more like Matt. But I
Lucky bastard.
I swear to God, I'm not Matt. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you guys do most of the talking. I'm just gonna be the guy interjecting every once in a while, saying the stupid shit. If that's okay with you.
Sounds perfect.
All right.
Sounds good.
Where did we leave off?
I think you mentioned something about slipping saw blades in magazines.
Yeah.
And then, is it Foltz?
Yep.
Escaping from
Foltz
prison.
gets his friend Raymond Hamilton out of prison that way.
Yeah, I think that's where we stopped last time. So,
And then Bonnie was all in. And
Yep. and off we go. So,
Yep.
continue with the Bonnie and the Clyde.
Okay. Clyde. Okay, so Foltz and Clyde were pretty tight. But Clyde did not like Hamilton. He wasn't a big fan, but he did want a gang. And he wanted this prison break thing to work.
Right.
So they needed more members, and they also needed guns and money. So their first attempt was to rob. It was on March 25th, 1932. They wanted to rob Sims Oil Refinery. And it was right next door to Clyde's father's service station. So it's not the best idea.
Well planned out there. Well, I best get out of bed now because I got to get up and put some clothes on and walk across the street and rob that place.
So you're going to find out during this that Clyde can drive like a son of a bitch, but he is not smart. This is not a great gang. They were not criminal masterminds by any means.
This is definitely a stumbling start.
I envision Clyde is like a Cletus from Simpsons in my head when I.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be, like
something along those lines. So here's their next great idea. They're going to go rob a bank in Minnesota. So they start to drive up there. Here is where Clyde is a bit smarter than most people because he's like, you know what? Running away from the cops on icy roads isn't going to be very good. So we're not going to do that.
Well, that was a smart mate. Yeah. I mean, as far as criminal activity goes, that was a smart move.
No, fair enough. He called it on that one. So they got a bank.
One of the very few times.
One of the few, yes. A bank in Lawrence, Kansas that they're going to rob. So they wait. They wait for the owner or one of the workers to come up and unlock the bank, and they run up with shotguns. and the bank president was opening. And this is said that they maybe got $33,000 from this job.
Holy shit!
Now,
If that's the case,
That is
this is probably the biggest job they ever got, right?
Oh no, this is definitely the biggest job they ever got. And actually, you probably should have just quit. You just could have went back home and lived on that. Even if you split into 3 ways. I mean, you could have went back home and lived on that well, but they're stupid. So their idea, he's gotta do that prison break, right? So Fultz knows a guy.
Promises.
Fultz knows a guy in Dupo, Illinois, who can hook him up. He's got weapons and bulletproof vests and everything. Okay, so the other guy leaves. He's out. He's done. He's good. But Fultz and Clyde are going. We're gonna go Dupo, and we're gonna get these weapons and these vests. So they spent every bit of their fucking cuts.
Oh my God.
Of this prison or of this money that they made from robbing this bank.
This is what makes, he was more interested in breaking out his buddies from jail than he was.
I once again, I can't blame him. I can't blame him for being angry at that prison.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, dude, you just won. You just won when you $33,000. That's like a few million.
You just hit the fucking lotto. You're done.
You could just went home and just lived.
Honestly, even if he still could have lived well and got them out of prison, because at that point you could have just given the prison money in that time and they would have released anybody that you wanted them to.
Oh, most likely. Yeah, you probably nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But Hamilton moved to Michigan. But Hamilton was the brains of the outfit. So, I mean,
so
Clyde might not have liked him, but
they're fucked then. They're food.
Mm-hmm.
So they spend all their money on these guns and these bulletproof vests. But they need 4 more guys join the gang. So they get some more dudes, and they're still trying to organize the prison break to get Aubrey Scally out because Clyde told him he would. He was like, that was the guy that he told that he was going to get him out.
Right.
But the Dupo, Illinois thing kind of kicked him in the dick, if it would, because they went to test this shit, and the vest didn't stop a BB.
It's a good thing that they tested this out on trees and not on their person. Yeah.
Exactly. And most of the guns wouldn't fire.
So the real crook here was the arms dealer that sold him all this shit.
That guy laughed all the way home.
Yeah.
All the way to the bank.
He was like, listen, this is my retirement and my kids.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if you ever
Y'all come back now, you hear?
If you ever watched Snatch, you never watched maybe Snatch, it's like, sneaky fucking Russian. And if the gun doesn't work, you can always hit him with it. Because he knows the fucking gun isn't going to work. So a lot of what they do is this gang lets most people go. They're stealing cars and robbing places. And then they get the idea that's like, hey, how about we not rob a bank to get money to buy guns? Why don't we just steal some guns?
Which is not a bad plan. Back in the day.
Hey, good call. So the Kaufman hardware store robbery goes bad. The night watchman just opened fire on them.
Yeah, they went in and like staked the place out first, right? And then they came back that night. And when you say Kaufman, you mean Kaufman, Texas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. It's a tiny little town.
Yeah. Well, apparently the people all band together immediately because as soon as the night watchman opens fire, the townspeople come out with their guns too. So you don't fuck with people in Texas. You fucking run.
Hey, you don't mess with Texas. You want this? Come and take it. Come and take it. Yeah, I would not fuck around like that.
So all these townspeople come out too because they're all like, I picture them just sitting by a window with a gun in their lap going, I wish something would break loose. Second it does, walking out the door.
Ready.
Yeah, he hit the alarm and everybody showed up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Clyde takes a country road out of town and he knows how to drive, but this Buick that he's driving gets stuck in the mud.
Stuck in the mud.
So they head off to a farm and they find a farmer. He does give them 2 mules. So
2 mules for Bonnie and Clyde. It's the sequel to 2 Mules for Sister Sarah.
Oh, that's a sad fucking movie, isn't it? You had to bring that up. But, yeah, so
you started it, fucker.
I can't imagine these guys that they dress proper all the time. They're slick dressed all the time. You know, they want to look their best. Bonnie's like wearing heels, and car gets stuck in a mud. Now they're on 2 mules. So fucking stupid.
Yeah,
damn right. But in Kemp, they hot-wired a car owned by Dr. Scarsdale, and it ran out of gas real quick. I think they made it a couple blocks.
Yeah, the reason they ran out of gas, it was depression. Nobody had any fucking money, so people didn't fill up their fucking cars, man. They put just enough in to get where they needed to go, and that was it. Because it was wasting money otherwise.
The gas gauges were notoriously faulty.
Inaccurate.
Back then, so.
Yeah. So, once again, in this place, the whole town is looking for them, not just the law. Everyone is like, so they stole Dr. Scarsdale's car. Let's get those sons of bitches. And they pitchforks and fires. I'm assuming.
they didn't really make it that far from the first town.
Yeah, I think they made it a couple blocks before that car ran out, I guess.
I'm just saying both those towns are really close together, like maybe 2 miles.
And while Clyde was super fast at hot wiring and stealing cars, the whole town was looking for them. He tried to steal one, but he couldn't. He wasn't quick enough.
Wow.
So Fultz gets shot in the arm. Clyde bolts because Bonnie isn't fast enough. So he's just like, hey, he had to make a decision. What kind of decision are you going to make? Am I going to stay with my buddy? Am I going to help my girlfriend? Or am I going to run like hell? And he's then help him later. He's going to
pull like the first time he got in trouble when he stole, the stolen car from when he was a kid. Same thing. Just fucking ran. He bolted, right?
Yep. So they were sitting where they were sitting, and he just picked an opportunity and just ran towards 2 of the townspeople. They happened to be reloading while he was running at them.
Lucky motherfucker.
Exactly. It's like everything just like all the dice rolled for this piece of shit for so long.
So long. He should have changed his middle name to Lucky instead of Champion.
Well, Chestnut, Champion, Lucky. Lucky motherfucker. Clyde, Lucky motherfucker.
Clyde, Lucky Chestnut Champion.
So while they're loading, they're like, son of a bitch. And he just runs through them. Yeah. And so he's gone. So the townspeople do get Bonnie and they do get Fultz, but Dr. Scarsdale, he won't treat Fultz because he stole his fucking car.
Yeah. You took a fucking oath, man.
You have to treat him. He's like,
fuck that oath. We're in Texas.
Cocksucker stole my car. There was a scratch on it. I seen it.
Shit.
I seen a scratch, and I'm not. No, there's no way this guy's ever gonna pay for it. But Bonnie knew what to do because they had told Bonnie, it's like, you ever get caught, you tell them we kidnapped you. You do your doe eye shit. You be as cute as you can possibly be, and fuck's sake, did everybody love Bonnie?
Yeah,
she got out of everything. She wasn't getting nothing. Was getting pinned on her. She's too tiny. She would not do these things.
I do, you know what I mean? Yeah, I do. Yeah,
She did spend some time in jail though, and this is where she wrote the famous poem "Suicide Sal." And
that's coming up. But Clyde needs to break out Fultz. Okay, he needs to get him out. But Bonnie had no problem in jail. Once again, that's where she was in jail for a little bit. That's where most of her poetry that we've got come from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in April of 1932, Clyde went to rob a store that was owned by the parents of someone he knew. Clyde was the driver. One of his guys shot the store owner, and he killed him.
Yeah, and this guy had like a weird store. Like it was like an auto shop. I want to say it was like an auto shop / jewelry store / gas station. And
it was like one of the old post stores.
Yeah, it was it was the general store because it was everything probably.
Yeah. And I guess they they went in there saying they needed to buy some guitar strings, and they only had like a $20 bill or something. So he was going to have to open the safe. And so he goes and gets his wife. He gets his gun. As soon as he opens the safe, bam, they shoot him.
As soon as he grabbed the gun. Yeah. Butcher Rogers, was that, or John killed Butcher Rogers, who owned the store. Yeah. And they only made $1,500, but I mean, $1,500 back then,
that's a shitload of money. Yeah.
You're doing pretty good. But here's the thing, is that when this goes out, Ted Rogers, who was the guy that killed the Butcher, looks a lot like Raymond Hamilton, who had left the gang and went to Michigan. Nope. Okay, so Clyde knows this, but he doesn't like Hamilton, but okay, he is a man of his word, which it turns out, which is pretty crazy. But there's warrants put out for Clyde and anyone who knew him. There's $250 on his head, which isn't bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No. Actually, back in the day, that was a lot. Like typically, a bounty for somebody was $20 because he was a recently paroled person from the state pen or from Eastham. It made the governor look really fucking bad, and that's why he bumped it up to $250.
Yeah, a lot of this going back to the governor, and that's going to come up later again. But
a ton of this.
So he dropped off Bonnie, and they went on a cruise. And in Stringtown, Oklahoma, what did those boys from Oklahoma do, Zach?
I think they rolled their joints all wrong.
You're damn right. They're too damn skinny and way too long.
The ones I know, they don't roll them wrong at all. They will fucking knock you on your ass. But that's another story.
As soon as I hear Oklahoma, that song shows my head.
Fuck yeah. Cross Canadian ragweed, man.
Because they heard music. They wanted to see what's going on. So they went there was a dance at the city pavilion. And guess what? Local guys didn't care for these strangers.
These sharp
coming in with this nice car and dressed all sweet, wanting to dance with their ladies and drinking. I get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have wanted to beat the fuck out of them too. So the local cops came up, right? But they're unprepared for this because these local cops are not even, they're paid by the arrest. They're not even carrying guns.
Well, they actually are, but they're their own guns. They're not provided.
Yeah, if you
guns.
don't have one, you don't.
Issued,
you don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Sheriff Charlie Maxwell is going to arrest him for drinking because, I mean, they can allow it or they don't have to.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah, 'cause it's prohibition.
Basically, these guys were all acting like assholes because they had all been drinking already, and all the local boys were getting ready to beat the fuck out of them. Because here they are, these sharp-dressed guys showing up, starting to steal all these guys' women. They're like, well, fuck these boys. We're going to fuck them up. So he's trying to prevent a confrontation with the local boys. He's like, well, if I just arrest them and then just let them go later, nobody's going to get hurt.
But what actually happens is the gang starts shooting,
jumps
in the car, and starts driving away.
Yeah.
Eugene Moore was killed in the gunfire over doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The sheriff was shot 6 times but lived.
Yeah, that's
because locals grabbed their whiskey and poured it in the bullet wounds, which fucking helped him.
Yeah,
so
that's fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah, dude, how do you get this lucky so many times? Is it bullets flying at
over
you
and over? It happened over and over, and it wasn't all luck. I mean, he did get hit a couple times.
Yeah,
maybe it's because he sacrificed his 2 toes to Satan. And this
what was okay.
He made a deal with Ben Franklin.
I don't know.
Ben Franklin, the Dark Lord, was watching over him.
Oh, Ben Franklin, the Dark Lord, please grant me the power.
They all asked Bonnie's aunt's house, Carlsbad, New Mexico. Millie Stamps was her name, and she's super trustworthy because she calls the cops immediately.
Well, she knows something's up because he's like, wait a minute.
They pull in wearing nice clothes and a nice car, and she's like,
where to, and then Clyde's real vague about what he does for a living. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh yeah."
It's like Goodfellas. It's like, what do you do for a living? Union delegate.
Forget about it.
It's on a need to know basis.
So Deputy Joe John was then taken as a hostage when he shows up because they had their guns out in the car, but Millie did have a shotgun in the closet. So, hey, guess what?
They snuck up on him. Yep.
They let John go in San Antonio. Yeah. But I love the stories.
I think they told him when they held him captive too that like I think there was a story like that they told him, hey, look, we had nothing to do with that guy getting murdered, that we've been accused of. And,
well, at this time they're getting accused of everything that happens everywhere because they're the big names.
Yeah. And I guess they made him go into a store and get them some food. They claim they hadn't eaten in like 2 days or something like that.
And I do like a bunch of the claims of people that they had like held hostage and then like handcuffed to trees or just let go here and there. And they all talked about how nice they were. And Bonnie's such a sweetheart.
As nice as you can be to somebody that's fucking holding a gun to you. Yeah, the whole time. Yeah.
As long as you didn't
My favorite hostage at this point is the mail carrier who requested that they
set his car on fire.
Yes, that they not just drop his car off in plain view like they normally do, that they actually set it on fire so the government would have to buy him a new car.
I forgot to put that in there. As soon as you said that, I was like, yes.
But they let him keep his mail.
Yeah. He got to take the mail bags out of the car with him.
See, they're assholes. But they're not fucking assholes.
Kind of like me.
So, hey, could you do me a favor? What's that? Set my car on fire when you leave it. Why? Well, because the government will buy me a new one. Fucking set my car on fire. They're like,
and that thing's a real piece of shit.
So when they did find the car, it was legit.
Yep.
Just smoldering.
Yep.
But this does, after this shit happens, Bonnie's name is finally in the paper. And she loves it. It's like,
she was on board from day one.
Well,
like,
but there's no such thing as bad press to Bonnie because she loves her name being out there in anything.
And she was an actress, and this was her public.
Okay, so now
center stage.
Now they're going for some guns, guys, because they robbed a State Guard armory in Fort Worth, where they got the Browning automatic rifles, the bars is what they called them. Yeah,
the BARs. Yeah,
this was set up just for the citizens.
Yes, this was in case like Mexico wanted to fucking take over.
Yes, like even the cops couldn't get into this.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't touch it. You're right.
So they certainly weren't protecting it.
That's right. And they basically just like walked in, popped the lock, opened the door up, take what you want, and that's how they got away with this. And at this point, now the cops are all using like 38s.
Yeah.
Like that's a
38 revolver. Yeah. Not super accurate for very long range. And
versus the BAR at the time was a 20-round clip automatic weapon. And a little higher velocity bullet.
A little.
Just a little.
It's closer to a cannon.
Yeah. So
than what the cops were using.
It's like Mike Tyson versus Mario. Yeah.
And they win.
Yeah.
So Raymond, after they rob this place, Raymond's like, I'm the fuck out.
Because he knows nothing good's going to come from this. He's like, it's just going to be fucking hamburger from now on.
He's like, I'm running away because they are going to use these. He's like, we've got these now and they're not going to sell them. They are going to use them and I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't a good guy, but he made a good call there.
He was an asshole, but he wasn't a fucking asshole.
There you go. Nailed. So
and Raymond was still super young, so he still had the ability to kind of turn his life around because at this point, back then,
he totally didn't.
These guys were all fucking so young.
Everybody's young. Like they were like 22 at the end of this. They were still kids.
Yeah, these guys were like at this point. I don't even think they were 21 yet.
No, they would have been 20 probably.
They were
right
20.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause I
Raymond
think
was still
19 or 18.
I think he was almost 18. So
Damn.
Yeah.
mhm.
I think about all the dumb shit I've done when I was 18. And I mean, I'm a lame bastard in comparison. and I did some dumb shit. Matt, you were there for some of it.
Yes. I remember some of it. Not
Stop.
all of it.
We're not going to bring anything up. But yeah,
Moving on.
moving on.
No, I seriously couldn't
anyways-
recall some of it. There's
And this is why we can't have nice things. Moving along.
So Bonnie and Clyde back on their own. And they're just doing small jobs, driving around, knocking over convenience stores.
The typical 7-Eleven shit. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you can get. And then Clyde really fucks up. He leaves a pill bottle with his name on it in Illinois.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Hey, what else happens while they're in Illinois?
I already went through the thing.
No.
Oh, is it coming up? I might have it wrote down later.
Did you write it down? This is the one thing I told you had to fucking point on because
Oh, shit, I've probably forgot it.
during this same trip, they steal a car from a doctor in Effingham, Illinois.
Nope, I didn't write that part.
Yeah.
Shit. I didn't read that part, actually.
Well,
You told me it, but I did not read it. That's why I didn't have it wrote down.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
It's fucking...
Continue on with your murder and mayhem.
No, I don't want to. I want to go back to Effingham, Illinois. They
Well,
stole
that was
a
it.
doctor's car.
I wanted you to point that out because that was, I mean, it's where I grew up. It's, that's where you go to,
E-hole.
that's where you go to get your groceries. Yeah.
Sometimes.
When you have to.
So, cut that part out. And then add this. Oh, so while they were heading, they stole a car in E-hole, Illinois.
E-hole? I've never heard of E-hole.
It's called Effingham.
Is that next to the F-hole?
Yes, everybody that lives there will understand. So they were staying in motor courts and random people's places that would allow them to stay. Because, once again, at this time, they were kind of heroes. Like, people...
Yeah. Well, also, you're talking Depression era, and, to stay in, a motor court, it's like $1 a night. And if you come to somebody's random house, and you're like, hey, I'll pay you $2 if you just let us crash for the night.
And they'd be like, fuck yes,
Mhm.
here's a room.
Mhm.
Yes, $2 is $2, and that's a week's worth of groceries. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the Coke bottle story, I think, is pretty great because they would drive past his parents' house and he would take an empty Coke bottle and write a note in it and just toss it out in the drive. And they'd done this dozens of times and never got caught. Never.
In 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years worth
Well,
of it.
almost got caught
Almost
one time,
once, but they didn't.
but not this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where the journalists, like we said earlier, they would pin any crime on Bonnie and Clyde because it sells papers. So they wanted every single robbery that happened was Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
So if you were out there and you had a couple people with you, you would want to I was like, let's get this girl to come with us. I mean, she doesn't have to do anything, but put a mask on or something and they'll think we're Bonnie and Clyde and they won't get pinned on us. We'll just rob this place and fuck off and have some money.
Mhm.
But it was the #1 story in Texas.
Yep. Sold a shitload of papers, and just like we've covered before,
And they got some new members. Hollis Hale and Frank Hardy join up because they think, because Bonnie
They're
and
dealing
Clyde
with some bona fide, genuine gangster bitches.
yeah, they think they're hooking up with some straight up, they're going to make some money. Where are they
Wrong answer.
So failed at bank jobs. They were super shitty at their jobs. Locals would come out and shoot people. When the alarms went off, people just come out and start shooting at them. So Hale and Hardy were like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
These guys suck.
What they say? They were they had just robbed a bank that had they made $100 or something
maybe,
like that.
Maybe $100,
Yeah. But
it was like you're getting the same amount of news, you're getting the same heat, but no money. So it's like the cops are on your ass harder than what they are most people, but you're making no money. So they tell Bonnie and Clyde that they're going to run into town to get some more bullets. And then they never fucking come back.
Yeah. smart motherfuckers.
Yeah. Adios.
Peace out, dude.
AMF, buddy. Adios, motherfucker. I'm out of here.
We need a shirt. Adios, motherfucker.
Yes.
AMF.
So many shirts you need to make.
So many shirts, so little time.
So
Continue with your Bonnie and Clyde.
Here's a fucked up thing. Clyde wanted to save Raymond because Raymond Hamilton was blamed for that murder, but Clyde knows that he didn't do it. But he didn't like him, but he also tried to save him. So they sent in like a radio full of hacksaw blades. So the hacksaw blades in the magazines worked the first time, so they tried it again with the radio.
Cops were getting smarter.
Yeah.
Well, prison guards were getting smarter. Now they were looking at stuff.
A little bit smarter. It's like we're tired of getting shot and having our weapons taken away from us while people leave and laugh at us. So this is where W.D. Jones comes into the story. He's 16 years old. And he's a
friend of the family.
And his main gig was
family.
Stealing license plates to give to Clyde. Yep, just hand him a license plate. Here, you swap these on and off and on and off. And so he goes out with Bonnie and Clyde to do like a job. Well, the job doesn't happen, but he basically says he doesn't want to go back home until he steals something. So Clyde, being a complete fucking asshole, he wants him to steal a Model T, knowing what a pain in the ass that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's out there trying to steal it when the owner walks outside and catches him. Well, Doyle Johnson was the guy that owned the car. He ends up dead. So
WD shoots him, and then
they didn't know for sure who shot him, whether it was WD or it was Clyde. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, son, now you got that murder on you. You got to stick with us now, say.
I think that was exactly what he was wanting to do.
Yeah.
I think he was wanting to make it to where, no, you can't leave now because you're stuck. Now, because I think WD was one of those dudes that would do anything that Clyde asked, and he didn't want that to go away. So he was like, well, if I can get you to where you're stuck with us, like if I can pinch you into that position, then you can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think that's exactly what he was doing, which makes Clyde a bigger fucking asshole than I thought.
I don't know. I don't give him that much credit. Actually, I don't.
You don't think he was smart enough to think of that?
Fuck no. I think it was a dumbass. I really do.
He was just being a dick, and it just worked out that way.
Yeah, yeah. That's my take on it from the research I've. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lindy.
What I read was that the reason that WD or that Clyde ended up being a dick to WD was because the one job that they were supposed to pull went bad because WD couldn't go through with it.
Well,
okay. So
yeah, but they just left though.
But Clyde was pissed because WD didn't do what he was supposed to do. So when he was like, "Give me another chance," Clyde was like, "We'll go steal that fucking car," and then.
So he was being a dick because he was wanting to come in there and pull a gun on somebody, and WD didn't want to do it because he's fucking 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor bastard.
Clyde was a douchebag, but yeah.
Well, he's a dead douchebag, so you know.
But,
very, very dead.
But this,
I'm back.
Yeah, first bullet dead. 150 later, super dead.
Hello, I would like a hamburger.
Sheriff Smoot Smid comes in
good
after
job.
this.
Good job. You didn't even spit when you said that. I'm proud of you.
Nailed it.
Fucking proud of you, buddy.
This dude was like 6'5".
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Gigantic motherfucker back then. But he did own a bicycle shop that would take stolen parts at the time. But then now he's all law-abiding. So Smoot mouths Bonnie in the papers and basically calls her a slut.
Yeah.
And she's not a fan of it. She didn't like it. So Bonnie and Clyde and WD were on the road. They were causing crime all over. They were all dressed nice, driving these new stolen cars. And once a month they they would get together with their families. So it was just like Clyde couldn't stop. It was like he didn't want to keep Bonnie from her family. He didn't want to stay away from his family. It was like, so if these cops were smart at all, they would have just set up like a block away, which they
and waited.
They try to do, but it doesn't work.
But here's the deal. At the time, I think there was so much crime in Dallas. They had fucking way bigger problems to deal with, and they were like, we can't keep up with the fucking murder rate we got. So same
thing's going to happen if another depression comes through. I mean, it'll be the same way now if that shit happens.
So what you're telling me is I need a BAR is what you're telling me.
I lost all my guns in a boating accident.
Maybe some Maybelline.
Yeah.
I still have all my Maybelline.
But at the time, these crimes that they were committing were still only enforced per state.
And at this point, we have no FBI.
Right. Mm-hmm. So once you crossed the state line, you could basically jump out of your car and pull your pants down and moon the officer while he's standing over there throwing his hat down like, what was it, like some Smokey and a Bandit or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, as long as they kept crossing the state lines, they hadn't broken any federal laws yet to be chased.
Right.
But they were burning up a lot of fucking states though.
March 1933, Buck gets a full pardon.
And this is after he turned himself in, right?
Yep. He finished it out. He turned himself in, finished it out like a fucking gentleman.
I think they may have done the same thing they did with Clyde too. Like, well, this man needs to help support his two young children, even though he was divorced. It had nothing to do with his children or his wife. They made all that bullshit up, just like they did with Clyde, saying that his mom was a widow and he needed to go help her.
Well, Buck gets home and his wife and his mother want him to talk. You got to go talk to Clyde, talk him out of it. You got to get on the same page, right?
We're talking about Blanche, right? His wife,
Blanche. Yes, and their mom. That's the name. And they so they want
Kumi.
It's not how it's spelled. And Blanche does not want to go on this vacation because
she knows exactly what the fuck's going to happen.
She hates Clyde, basically. Yeah. She hates Clyde. But Buck says, I'm going whether you're going or not. So she goes, and they have fun on this vacation at first. And this is where the photo shoot comes. This is where from all the pictures that we've all seen of these two.
This was in Joplin, Missouri, right?
Joplin, Missouri. This is this is where all the pictures come from. This is the pictures you see of like Bonnie smoking a cigar, having a gun in her hip, and she's got her leg up on two. I think there were two like in her waistband while she had the cigar in her mouth. But I think it was basically, from what I read, she was fucking around, just like it was. Well, she didn't smoke cigars. No, she smoked cigarettes. She didn't smoke cigars.
Pissed her off.
Yeah, she didn't like
to
that.
An extreme.
Well, you took the picture.
Because everything that she told everybody.
Yeah,
everything that she told everybody after that was, tell everybody to stop putting my name in the papers saying that I'm some cigar smoking anything, because I don't smoke cigars.
Yeah.
That was the thing she was worried about.
That's what she was pissed about, was I don't smoke cigars.
You're known as a robber and a killer, but well, she wasn't known as a killer then. I mean, that didn't come until later. I think the main reason that the law took it easier on Clyde than what they could have is because Bonnie was with him, and they were thinking, well,
we don't want to kill the woman.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt her. She hasn't done anything wrong, when she was just as gun-ho for it as anybody was.
Yeah, she's a Band-Aid.
She was gun-ho for it, but she wasn't allowed to participate.
Strong emphasis on the hoe.
Okay. There you go. Right. So the cops were on high alert for bootleggers was the main thing that was happening here. And Clyde fucks up pretty hardcore because
bootleggers.
They weren't even looking for him. They had no idea about it. But Clyde he thinks it's a good idea. He's like, I'm going to clean my bar. And without checking it to find out if there's any ammo in the motherfucker. And while he's cleaning it, he just blasts off a few shots.
Oh my God.
The neighbors, they called the cops because
they're like,
hey, that's not normal.
That's It's awful loud.
Yeah. If you hear a regular gunshot, you say it's a 9mm even.
It goes like,
or whatever the cops are shooting. They're loud, but they are not the sound of a bar when it goes off because it's automatic. Fucking nastiness is fucking super loud. So
let's hear that again, you guys.
Is that close? I don't know.
It's not quite that fast, man. It's more like a.
We could do this all day, Lindy, if this is going to make you laugh, you asshole. Fucking jerk.
Right now, I wish we were actually on video so that they could see both of you guys doing these sound effects right now.
Lindy, you're gone. She's gone, Zach. This is it. This is it. That's all I'm going to stick. This is all I'm taking. She's run me down for the last time.
Continue with your Marville.
So,
let's get back on point here. Come on.
Lindy's got me so mad. Okay.
That's my job.
Exactly. So they got a 5-man squad that's coming for him, right? They're coming for him, and they block the car. They block the garage door with cars.
Okay, so both the cars are in the garage. Garage doors are shut.
Yes,
right?
But the car was backed in, which they had noticed, which seems suspicious, I suppose.
But that door was up at the time, correct?
Right.
And
yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to put it into perspective because of the things that are about to happen. But
yeah,
keep going.
The raid is coming of just terrible decisions on both sides. And Wes Harriman, he was killed by Clyde with a shotgun because he was trying to go underneath the garage door while they were closing it. And Clyde
so the cops show up. They say they've got a warrant. And while they're coming in, they're trying to close the garage door.
And Clyde is not going back to prison, so it doesn't matter. He climbs, tries to get underneath the garage door while they're closing it, and just shoots him with a fucking 12 gauge, which doesn't work out well.
And at that point, everybody's like, fucking fall back. And they go back behind their cars.
And Harry McGinnis, he almost lost his arm after a shotgun blast by Clyde as well.
Yeah. And by the way, these police officers, they had asked other local people for help, and they had gotten a bulletproof car, which turned out to be not that bulletproof, by the way.
It wasn't bulletproof at all. It turned out to be shit, is what it turned out to be. Kind of like that
fucking vest that they bought earlier, yeah.
No. Yeah. Well, the cops' vest would stop the bar shots, but if you got hit with it, it was going to throw you to the ground anyway. I mean, it wouldn't kill you, but the force that those bullets are flying at, I mean, it's like getting hit in the chest by Tyson. You're going fucking down anyway. I mean, it might not kill you, but you're going to lose your wind and fucking be on the ground for a second wondering where the fuck you're at and why you're there in the first place.
Hey, whatever happens, happens.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. Awesome. I'm not going to do that. And just in case we ever run into him, I'll be like, Mr. Tyson, I never made fun of you in all of my days, but I don't know if you remember Zach tried to do something. You can punch him in the head if you want to. I carry him to the hospital.
Mike, if you want to come after me, I fucking deserve it. So it's okay.
He's still going. What are you doing? Stop doing that.
This is one of the instances where Clyde's driving skills come into play.
Yeah, because Clyde was pushing the car out while Buck was pulling McGinnis's body out of the way, while WD was laying down some cover fire for him. So WD, right. I mean, he was 16, but he was right in it. I mean, that dude was in the thick of all of it. I mean, he was.
This is within the first 2 weeks of him being with him. At this point, this is murder number 2 after this.
Yes,
at 16 years old.
Yeah, and Clyde was shot in the chest, but it happened to be that it hit a metal pin that was in his shirt.
Yeah.
So when it went through the metal pin, it barely went in. So Bonnie dug it out later with like a hairpin.
Yep.
Which had to feel great, but
some fucking Rambo shit.
At least your brains weren't fucking hanging out of your head and begging for chicken.
We're not there yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they jump in the car.
They jump in the car and they rammed the other car and they got away. But Buck and Blanche, they're on the run with them now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to be. Neither one of them. They took this vacation to talk, Clyde out of being this, just like, but Clyde couldn't turn himself in. I mean, they wanted him to turn himself in, but what are you going to turn yourself in? The gallows? Because that's where he was going.
No, he's going to the fucking electric chair, dude. There's no
electric
gallows.
chair.
Definitely.
Well, same thing. I mean, you're dying, and
It's going to go
be
right in the
fun.
lightning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he definitely living life in prison at this point.
So WD's wound was pretty bad. Like, he was shot, and so, but don't worry, Clyde's got a method of checking to see if he's okay. So Clyde takes a stick and he wraps some cloth around it and runs it through the bullet hole to see if it comes out the other side. Because if it comes out the other side, then you're all good, which it did. And I imagine that felt amazing.
yes.
You're all good, pussy. What are you fucking crying about? The bullet went out the other side.
At least you still have your limbs. I'm missing 2 toes.
Two toes. I'll donate 2 toes to a bullet shot through the chest. I mean, if I had my weathers of which one I was going to take,
I actually have a bullet hole in my knee. It's pretty painful.
You have a bullet hole in your knee? What kind of gangster lifestyle do you live, Lindy?
Been spending most her life living in a gangster's paradise.
We shouldn't ask questions. We might get hits put on us.
Yeah, no shit.
Lindy, your business is your business, and we don't want anything to do with it. It's fine. I don't want to know.
All right, so Matt, let's continue with the story because otherwise it's going to be a 4-parter.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
So after they left Joplin,
once they haul ass, they left so much fucking evidence.
all the shit, yeah,
everything. So you got to take Buck with you now because he's fucked because his marriage license and his pardon is in there.
Yeah,
They left rolls of film from pictures they had taken while they were on their vacation. They left the guitars and the saxophone and all the shit. Stealing cars is one thing, but if you have to take all this shit out of one trunk and put it in the other, that really hinders the stealing car progress, I would think.
Yeah.
That's why they started stealing plates.
So
to switch plates out
instead of stealing cars because we got so much shit in this car. I mean, those old cars weighed like 4 tons to begin with, so you're putting another ton worth of shit in it. It's fucking... So all the papers and magazines put out all these pics, man, and Bonnie's now a star, and she fucking loves it. Shit. We have to go 3 parts on this because I was just getting ready to go. What the Barrow Gang goes through the next part, not happy. It's not that life of luxury that you see in the beginning of Goodfellas. You got to watch these movies all the way through, people. It's not, you can't just watch the beginning of it and think that's how it's going to be.
All right. So I think we can probably get to Buck. We can get through Buck, and then let's call it. Because at this point, we're about an hour in, so continue with the Bonnie and Clyde, please.
Okay, so the Barrow Gang, they now have to deal with some rough living because they slept in the car, they're taking baths in streams, and they're eating just like canned shit.
Like Vienna sausages and crackers.
Yes, if they're lucky enough to have crackers. That's like a luxury to have crackers. It's like Vienna sausages, which I'm not against them. I was in the Boy Scouts. I'd always throw those in my backpack to have them, but it's not a thing that I'd be like, I get home, I'm like, boy, what do I want today? Some Vienna sausages.
It's definitely not pizza rolls.
Yeah, you damn right.
I'm not opposed to schmeeby weenies every once in a while, though.
There you go. Mm-hmm. But then the Dust Bowl happens, which is, we can go into that because you got the depression going on. So farmers are getting fucked. They're not making money. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to plow your land. You're supposed to plant it. You're supposed to till it, take it, then let it rest. But with the depression, they wasn't allowed to let it rest. They needed to go back at it again. So all of this overworking of the land just made it to where it just turned into sand almost. It was just and
they fucked the soil. Yeah. So that happens, which isn't good. And then Bonnie and Clyde, once again, they could stay on occasion with people that were sympathetic to them, and they were stealing cars all the time. I think they basically went from Texas as far north as Minnesota for the next 3 months of their run, correct?
Right.
And then in May, they tried to rob a bank in, is it Lucerne, Indiana? And failed.
Right. Well, most of the time they failed. They were shitty. They were shitty criminals. I mean,
he was good at 7-Elevens, and that's about it.
Yeah. He was good at driving, which should have been his job. He should have stayed with the guys that knew how to rob places and just drove for them. That's what he should have done, but he didn't. Rustling, Louisiana. WD steals a car belonging to Dillard Darby.
Yep.
Sophia Stone seen it and chased after them. Clyde forced them off the road to find out why they were following them, and he's like, "'Cause you stole my fucking car, you asshole." And this is funny. So yeah, because this is where that Darby guy could be the official mortician of the gang. That was Bonnie's joke. She found out he was a mortician, and so she's like, "You can be our official mortician then." But WD was gone. I mean, he was down the road. They couldn't find him,
and they went and looked for him, and they went a couple states looking for him, right?
No,
but this kid was like, "Fuck this shit."
But they assumed he went back home, which he did. And Clyde and Buck plan a bank robbery on May 11th, and they break into the bank, hide, and wait till morning. This should be an easy job, right?
Should be.
Of course, they didn't fucking search the place because when the clerk comes in, he's standing right next to a shotgun. And he started shooting. Fucking idiots. It's like, why didn't you go back behind the till and look? Just take a look.
Well, so they had to run away. The first thing on my list to check.
They had to run away.
Run away. Run away.
So once again, the townspeople join in on the chase. They're like, fuck yeah, let's go shoot somebody. So some dude jumps on the hood of their car, and Bonnie fires a couple warning shots out the window. Bonnie never killed anybody, and that one of the few times that she shot a gun, she wasn't shooting at them. He was just trying to
over their heads and shit.
Yeah. But they did kill a couple pigs.
Goddamn pigs got stuck in them all.
The car did kill. They did hit a couple pigs. I think we should take a moment to.
When you say a couple, you mean like 6 or 8?
We just take a moment of silence here for those pigs. And now I want a Baconator. So the next week, they had a bank job that worked out. And they made some money because they made $1,600 on that fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
So Raymond Hamilton at this time was found guilty of killing. He was the murderer of John Butcher, the jeweler. But fucking Clyde knows for sure. No, it wasn't him. It wasn't him that killed him. He knows. He didn't like him. But we got to get him out. Even though I don't like him, he was innocent of that. And I've got to help him out because that was my fault. Or he thinks it was his fault. And then WD, he's back in West Texas. So Clyde, driving 70 miles an hour through Wellington, Texas, missed a detour and wrecked his car. Of all the times, the car
was this when the bridge was out?
Yeah, and the car battery busted and sprayed all over Bonnie's legs, and it burnt all the way to the bone. Like the battery acid burnt all the way to the bone. So Clyde carried Bonnie to a farmhouse, but wouldn't let them call the cops or take her to a hospital. And apparently he said, if she dies, she dies.
Mm-hmm.
But I disagree with that. I don't think he actually said that. I think that was what they said because he carried her. Like he would not leave Bonnie for nothing. So I don't believe that was actually what was said.
That sounds
I
more
think
like
they
a
were trying to make him
movie
seem like a
quote
hard
from
ass.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but if he dies, he dies.
Rocky IV. That
That's
would have been Dolph Lundgren. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I don't think you're right.
After he killed Apollo.
Yeah.
What was his name in the fucking Ivan Drago? After Ivan Drago killed Apollo, that's what it. Yeah. If he dies, he dies.
It was more like if he dies, he dies.
There it is. You nailed it.
Something like that.
Fuck yeah.
I didn't. But so now Bonnie's all fucked up, and
super fucked up.
They're all fucked up. By the way,
they're all I it's like they're fucking Terminators. We'll get back into it here in just a bit. Fucking. Oh, Buck is a monster of a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I have to say, at this point, Bonnie's pretty fucking tough.
She's a badass because she's not giving up. I mean, she's sticking with it. She's like, no, this is my way of life, or I'm not going to have one, and I'm not leaving you.
She survived the rest of this. Yeah. She survived the rest of this time with, what was it, baking soda poured into her wounds and then some salve put on it and wrapped. That's just how she lived.
I think some whiskey, was about it. Yeah.
At this point, she can no longer wear pantalones. She's in skirts only from this point on, I think.
Yep. Skirts only. No, now she's got to wear, just flats. Most of the time, Clyde's carrying her from this point on.
One of them are, because she can't.
She can't put weight on that leg.
Poor Clyde is missing 2 toes.
Yeah, right? So he doesn't have balance to begin with.
Yeah.
So, if they tied their 2 legs together, they'd be all right because then it'd just be, one.
Is that where we're going?
Oh, shit.
Fuck, I thought this was going to be a 1 episode and it's 3. We're going to go 3. Let's go 3 episodes, guys.
All right, let's get it. Come on, we gotta finish it up. Come on, hurry up.
Let's go. We're gonna get crazy on that last one, man, because we're gonna go into the whole shootout and the fucking funerals and stuff. So.
I was just about to say, how does that go again?
Fucking leaving that in.
I'm spitting all over my microphone here. So.
Just glad it's not mine. All right. Continue with the Clyde and Bonnieville.
Are we still going? I thought you was wanting to stop.
No. We gotta get to Buck. We gotta get to Buck. That's the stopping point. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
So did we get where do we leave off? Because we've been talking for a minute and I forget.
Bonnie gets
battery busted.
The car battery explodes.
Yeah. So Clyde carries Bonnie to a farmhouse, but wouldn't let them call the cops or take them to the hospital. Or once again, if she does, she dies. Okay. So WD goes to get the guns. He tells him, go get the guns. Someone in the house does call the cops. Of course. So by the time they show up, the gang took the cops hostage, but told them they know where Bonnie is injured. So while they got the cops, right, with them. Yeah. And they're traveling. And then of course, Clyde can't shut his fucking mouth. So he's like, yeah, we're Bonnie and Clyde. And so these cops know that Bonnie's injured, so they can pass that information along. So, Sarah,
you missed a couple things. Like before the cop showed up, there's a pregnant woman in this house, and she's holding a baby on her hip. And WD freaks out at some point, I believe, and she makes a noise or screams or something. He just shoots, and he hits her, and it doesn't kill her. And I mean, it just hits her and basically scrapes her in the arm or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
But
I left it out for a reason.
Before they leave, Clyde tries to pay these people.
Right.
And they refuse, and they say, well, now if you can't help somebody out, what kind of world are we living in?
Good people.
You got to be. If one of your family members just got shot by one of these motherfuckers, and you're just like, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Right.
Maybe a little too giving. I'm not sure that shit would fly in my house, but
no.
So
now go on with your Bonnie and Clydeville. Come on.
I think it's Sierra, Oklahoma. And what do those guys in Oklahoma do? We're going to do it every time I say Oklahoma, so you might as well just say it.
They rolled their joints all wrong.
There we go. And they met back up with...
Legally, by the way.
They met back up with Buck and Blanche because the cops are very, very nice to Bonnie. Like, when they were in the back of the car, they were, like, cradling her head.
Yeah.
And so Clyde was like...
Well, and Clyde would stop, and, like, the officers would go in and get bandages and food and all of that stuff for him, too, and they didn't say anything.
So he left them handcuffed to a tree close to the road. I mean, he didn't take them out far. I mean, he knew they were going to be found. He was like...
His brother wanted to take him out, I believe, but he said no. He's like, I've kind of grown attached to them. They're nice people.
They were good dudes. They were very good dudes. And then Bonnie's leg would never heal up all the way. I mean, it was just...
Well, I mean, she didn't live that much longer, so it doesn't matter. I mean...
Oh, calm down. They live forever. Zach, you're destroying this. Okay.
Who wants to live forever, Matt?
So
Bonnie.
WD and Buck did all the robberies from now.
Yep.
They needed a bigger car for Bonnie. They were thinking, we need to get a bigger car for Bonnie. So WD was going to steal a box truck from a grocery store, which isn't a good idea because it's so fucking slow and stupid and conspicuous. But he tried and tried and tried. He couldn't get the fucker running. So
he finally did after he popped the clutch going down the hill. Yeah.
Down the hill, popped the clutch, got it running. He's like, what the fuck am I doing? And he drove it back.
He's like,
back in the car
Your
with
truck's
Buck.
fixed. Thank you.
this is no good. This is no good. Redo.
The lady at the store is like,
Thanks.
thank
I
you.
suppose. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Fair enough.
Ma'am, I'm very sorry. I stole the wrong truck. My apologies.
So they take off. But Buck crashes the car.
Yeah.
All sorts of cops show up. Henry Humphrey.
Actually, they ran into another car, I think, when they were trying to get away.
Was that what it was?
A passing cop car passed them, and they stopped. And that's when this happened.
So Henry Humphrey died a few days later. But the officers did shoot off one of WD's fingers. One or two.
Tip.
The tip of his fingers.
Yeah, these cops basically saw the crash, and so they stopped. And as they got out, they opened fire on them, and then they returned fire, and both the other officers were killed. But in the return fire,
So after all this heat, after all this heat's happening, like the Barrows gang's blamed for everything. Like as if it wasn't before. I mean, it's even more now. It's like states away, fucking grocery store gets robbed or a gas station gets robbed. It's the Barrows gang, as if they was able to.
What's the term? Out of the
jump around.
No, out of the oven into the fire. Out of the oven and into the fryer. I don't know.
Surely, it could have been.
Because they're all going to get fried if they get caught.
Because Buck and Clyde were accused of a rape charge, but nobody ever. There's not a person that knows them that were honest that said no, they raped somebody. They never did.
Yeah, it's not.
I know.
But
where are they going to get the time?
Exactly. We're too busy on the road to rape somebody. We're fucking.
Yeah.
Well, and besides that, our wives are with us. Like,
like they'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
Bonnie's fine with me raping you. No, shh.
Blanche is like a super huge squawker. Like, she's never out of Buck's ear. And at this point, Clyde's carrying Bonnie around literally everywhere with him on his feet.
It's like
walking for her.
It's like
they were gentlemanly to their women, at least. I mean, you could say that.
Yeah. Well, unless they got out of line. I mean, I remember some reading something about, Bonnie throwing
Clyde
a fit.
Bonnie
was really strong-headed, and, she was like, well, I'm leaving. And she put all her shit in a bag at one point, and Clyde had to, fucking run her down and convince her to come back.
Give her a couple slaps.
Yeah, slap her around a little bit.
Was one of those things, just to calm you down. It was a different time.
She had a little bit too much of the actress in her, I believe.
Well, she was also, especially after the leg wound, she she was starting to drink pretty excessively.
yeah,
So she
for the
would
pain.
start a lot of fights.
Yeah.
So they would argue a lot because she was just fuck-faced a bunch of the time. I mean, who can blame her? She's literally, you can see her own bone.
Yes,
So
you got to get rid of
But
that
she would-
pain. I'd be fucking shit hammered too.
yeah. So she'd start a lot of arguments, and it would end up coming to blows between her and Clyde before they calmed down and would just go to bed.
So it's like Platte City, Missouri, at a camp.
Yep.
Red Crown Tavern was a big place for the cops, and they had expensive clothes, but they were broke. So
Well, in Plate City, they rented the 2 little hotel rooms.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That were next to each other, and Blanche was going out to the store and going over to the tavern
and buying
to get
stuff
their
with
food.
change that they had stole from candy machines.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. But she was being watched.
Yeah, and they had said that only 2 people were staying in.
Both of those rooms, correct?
Yeah, or 3 people. So there was one room for her and her husband, and then the other room for WD. So why she was going and getting 5 meals at a time?
Well, that boy likes to eat. That's all I can tell
She
you.
was super hungry.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
everybody's from.
Starving. Yeah.
So, okay, Tom Bash, he gets a posse of 13 in an armored car.
And now this is another instance where he asked for help to get some people to come help him, because I think a local farmer found them, right? They were camping somewhere. Am I right?
Yep.
Am I off base?
Nope, you nailed it.
Okay.
So the cops tell them to surrender. They didn't, though.
They saw him coming about 50 yards away, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So the armored car was shit. The vest did work, but once again, you get shot with one of their guns, you're going down anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not going to kill you, but you're going to be down catching your breath for a second before you can get back up. And Buck is shot in the head, like right through the head. Like his like his skull was
exposed,
like his brain is showing. But this dude's like fucking Terminator or some shit. So he gets shot in the head, but Clyde drives away, but gets a bullet. The bullet, as they get in the car to drive away, like Blanche is in the back with Buck, and she's turned around looking at Buck trying to help him. And then a bullet comes through the back glass, and all that glass, that thick ass old fucking glass that they used to use, it just fucking fills her eyes.
It's in one of her eyes, I believe, right?
Well, no,
it's in both of her eyes,
but one ends up being completely blind.
Yeah,
she's able to flush it out of the right eye, but a piece gets lodged so deep into her left eye that she can't.
And Bonnie pulls it out.
She
later.
can't get it out. Yeah.
So they got hydrogen peroxide to clean Buck's wounds, and they said that probably saved his life. Like they were just dumping hydrogen peroxide into his fucking brain because it was
and
showing.
Then stuffing it with gauze.
So they went to Derricksfield Park. They went to Derricksfield Park because they wanted him to die in peace. They wanted him to have a nice place to be. But Buck was so alert. He's like, I want some chicken. so they went to go get some chicken. I mean, this dude was a fucking Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
In Blanche's eyes, once again, getting picked out. And the night watchman, that while they were there, so they went through this whole night thing, and WD was even telling Buck, like sitting there crying, saying, I'm getting out of this. I don't want to do this life of crime anymore. This isn't for me. It's like, I'm so sorry I'm going to lose you and whatever. Buck ain't dead. Yeah. He's not even close to dead yet.
No,
this guy's like fucking Rasputin.
Well, this guy, when he got hit in the head, it affects your cognitive reasoning abilities, and that's about it. So, I mean, he's gonna fucking die of like fucking
exposure.
Yeah, well, yeah, so long as he's out there. But so, okay, so they were out there, and they did do stupid. They stopped like in the middle of a clearing.
Yep.
Some night watchman found some bloody bandages and told the cops. The posse
y'all better get up here because we got some of them there bandits around, and you need to come
They
up here
form
and take care
a
of it.
posse of 50 people.
Went
Some
from
are
a fucking
drunk,
posse to a posse.
but drunk's fine. Not too drunk, but drunk's fine. So on July 24th, the posse attacks Clyde. Clyde hears something in the woods, so they just start shooting. Him and WD just, as soon as they hear something in the woods, they're just like,
They aim at the tops of the tree tops,
Whatever.
and like all these tree tops are falling on these people as they're coming in.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So they
driving
just
back.
start shooting, and WD gets grazed in the face. Clyde gets hit in the left arm, which it broke his bone,
Yeah,
and Bonnie takes some buckshot to her stomach. But they all get in the car, and then they get stuck on a tree stump, so they all have to run. So Buck faints because fucking loss of blood, whatever.
yeah.
And Clyde's carrying Bonnie, so he can't help him. He's just got to go. But Buck doesn't die there. He's got a pistol, and he keeps emptying it. He keeps shooting at him. They shoot him more times, like even in the chest. This motherfucker is a Terminator or Rasputin. He's a tough son of a bitch. So they shoot him in the chest until he stops shooting. Blanche stays right by his side. She won't leave him. Yeah. And this is where the Blanche photo's taken, because they're walking her out, and she can't see because her eyes are all fucked up from the glass that was in them. And the cameraman...
So they're taking her picture,
Yeah, the cameraman pulls up his camera, but she can't see, so she thinks it's a gun and just screams because she thought she's getting assassinated. And so that picture is... But Buck lived for 5 days.
Yeah.
5 more days, but he didn't die from the gunshot wound, Zach. He died...
It was a broken heart.
Pneumonia.
I was going to go
after a surgery that they did to get the bullets out of him.
No. He was like, from what I read, like he fucking smelled like.
They all had to smell like shit.
No. Like just the wound itself. Like it was a bit gangrenous.
Almonds.
It smelled a bit. Smelled a bit of almonds. Yes, but before he died, I think his mom actually came up. He was basically hanging on.
Yeah, Kumi was able to make
So
it.
Kumi came up and was there before he died.
And then she said that she was going to hold off on buying Buck's headstone because she knew it wouldn't be too long before Clyde was right behind him, and they would just do one tombstone together.
Yeah, cheaper that way.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a good spot to stop. You good with that?
Yeah, I had no idea this was going to be 3 episodes, but
I blame you.
There's so much shit.
Yeah, there is.
I
a lot of
didn't
shit.
know there was going to be so much.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for hanging out yet again, and we're going to do our first 3-parter. How about that?
I think we've delivered the most information without fuckery in these episodes.
I don't know. There's a lot of fuckery in every episode.
There's a lot of fuckery in this episode.
The first episode, there was very little fuckery because I was running on like E.
We appreciate you guys hanging out with us one more week. Tune in next week for the conclusion of Bonnie and Clyde. Until then, I am Zach.
Spar.
Lindy.
And we will see you next Tuesday. Later.
Later.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you by the power of Christ.
This is Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
We could do this all day, Lindy, if this is going to make you laugh, you asshole. Fucking jerk. It's fucking just...